Welcome back, everybody. I do apologize for the stream having some technical difficulties. My internet went, but we should, as I'm trying to find the stream on my phone to make sure that it is actually still up and running.
I mean, I can help with that too.
Please double check. So I did hit start. There should be a part 2 somewhere.
It doesn't show for me. It does show for me. Yep, it's there.
It is there. Hey, we are back. We are back. We are back once again racing. You've been having your eyes on the streamer. Do you want to give a little update of what we missed during the little break?
So the one thing we missed as JST is going for P2. The one thing we missed is Lefted actually dropped 5 places here. He was in P2 hunting down Willem Farrar. Then he dropped to P7 now. So that means both Jeffrey Ritchie and Harvey Cohen have actually gained positions here. One each, of course. And so they're up in P4 and P5 now, which would now mean that Willem Farrar would no longer be able to win the championship under his own power in Jeddah if it finishes this way. So right now, the standings would be, let me do some quick maths in my head. Farrar 133, Cohen 128, Ritchie 140. So
I think that's about to change because it looks like Jeffrey Ritchie's mounting up a move onto the McLaren of Daniel Keltson. He's going to look to the inside, decides against it. So a possible move mounting up. He might have to do something into turn 4 if he's got any chance. He's got a good amount of ERS himself. Whether that's set up slightly different to allow him a better overtaking opportunity, no, not just yet. I think the best opportunity really is turn 1.
It's tricky. It is the longest straight, but you have to complete the overtake. And right now, JST is sort of the one hindering Ritchie here because JST gives Daniel Keltson the DRS, which means Keltson has enough to defend here. And Ritchie would have to drain his whole battery in order to make a move happen, which I find at this point in the race, at least, highly unlikely. You are running pretty well. You know, the gaps are very small, and it doesn't look like Ritchie's being held up a lot. So why force the issue this early? Remember, you know, this is 36 laps long. You don't have to overtake. You don't have to be the leader on lap 10 to win. You have to be the leader on lap 36 and 36 only to win.
Yeah, as Jeffrey Ritchie again get mightily close to Daniel Keltson. So I think for now, as mentioned, you just keep applying the pressure. Make sure you make your presence known. And then come, say, lap... Well, where we come to pit stop phase, really, is where you want to attack first. Maybe make the move, pull ahead, gain that gap. And then the last point would be near the end of the race. Maybe lap 34, lap 33.
Yeah, generally I would even leave it a little bit longer. 35 really is when I would start thinking about it and really, you know, throw the kitchen sink at it. But yeah, it's always a tricky choice. You do it too early and you allow yourself to be attacked right back. You do it too late, and if it fails, well, you don't have another opportunity. So it's really tricky, the situation. It's really tricky to choose the right spot. I think generally the consensus among drivers, among strategists, among engineers is usually to go for it around, you know, on the penultimate lap is when you really want to start to be very aggressive. If you are the car in second place. Meanwhile, JST for the first time now has DRS on Willem Farrar. He's actually closed that gap quite well. And he now gets the rear wing open, the letterbox, as Martin Brundle likes to call it. And he's within 9/10 now. So this could become a lot more interesting now that we have the top 9 all in one DRS train.
That is quite a big number, but just a bit further ahead, if you're wondering, there's a car ahead of him. Yeah, that's Felipe Sosa. So that could also play dividend as well, because that means that Farrar has DRS of his own to fight back and defend. Of course,
Not yet.
Yeah, he's on the fringe. He's going to be close soon, and under blue flag rules, we do honour them. You do have to kind of get out of the way, because even though you turn into a ghost, your appearance and your car will actually distract the other drivers. As JST, once again, you'll see that letterbox, it didn't open, so he just missed out this lap. And he will get another opportunity here. He's definitely within this time, so that letterbox will open up this time.
Yeah, I tell you what, JST, looking at how the gap evolves every single corner on a lap, I have the strong suspicion that JST runs significantly lower wings than WOR. I can tell you, by the way, normally, you know, the drivers would run wings in the... let me just quickly find it real quick.
Jeffrey Ritchie, I think, just went massively wide. I think he did, because I saw a red car going off the track like no other. Luckily, he has not lost a position, but he has lost a little bit of time to Daniel Keltsen.
Yeah, normally you run wings sort of in the around 20, I would say. So it goes from 0 to 50, and you run somewhere around 20 here. You know, plus minus, give it maybe 5, you know. But I think what JST runs here is closer to 15, roughly on front and rear. I always take the sort of the average of both, you know. So he runs significantly less wings, which obviously has the advantage that JST's straight line speed is just mind-boggling compared to anyone else on the circuit, but also means he struggles in the corners and he loses time there. So it's a bit harder for him to follow other cars. But my goodness, does that make the overtaking easy? I can tell you that much. It's generally, I think, a good idea, and a lot of these drivers do that they usually increase their wings by 3 clicks, maybe 4 for the race, compared to qualifying if they can. If, you know, for example, there's a lobby reset or no park ferme or stuff like that. If there is park ferme, usually they lower the front wing by 1 or 2 to make sure that you do have just that little bit more straight line speed, makes it easier to overtake. And yeah, sure, you're going to lose a bit of time in the corners. It's not that bad. But to Felipe Sosa real quick, there's another thing here that I'm looking at. Imagine if there's a safety car right now.
Yes.
Just imagine. Felipe Sosa, and I love this, is still staying in this race because he knows as long as he's not lapped, it's not over. Something can happen, and he's fighting to not get lapped. He's giving it his all, and personally, from my heart, as a racer, I would just like to commend him for that explicitly. I think that is how every driver should operate. We see it so many times. Drivers get a bit of front wing damage. They head into the pits and there you go. I don't want to race anymore. And they retire. The car lap 1. I don't like that. Felipe Sosa had to pit lap 1 or 2. I think lap 1 it was. And he's down that far. And he still presses on. And I love that.
It's something you mention every single race. You know what? Yeah. It's rubbed off on me. I mentioned it in other races. And I even critiqued a driver for going in way too early. And I said, you shouldn't do that. But you're right. You're right. The esports, it's so much easier to get yourself back in the game. It takes one simple mistake. Bam, you're back in it. And that's the same mentality I ran. And I'm a terrible driver at the back of the pack. And I got points because of it. Admittedly, about half the grid was wiped out, but, you know, I'll take what I get, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. So the thinking from a lot of, not necessarily esports drivers, I think esports drivers have that, but sort of the esports hopefuls, let's call them, top league racers, I think for quite a few of them, the mindset is, well, nobody's going to crash anyway. These guys are all too good. And they are very good. I mean, we see that week after week after week. They are very, very good. But something can always happen. I mean, we see real F1 drivers crash. We saw Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi come together today.
The GOAT.
And they spun. And Latifi ended up in the wall. Granted, not enough to trigger a safety car or even a VSC, but still, it happened. You know, we saw Ricciardo and Magnussen at this very circuit come together, cause a safety car. Things happen, even to the best of the best. Why? Well, it's very simple, because we're all human, and humans aren't perfect. So always stick with it, you know, keep your teeth in. Once you're lapped, that's usually my threshold. Once you're lapped, okay, unlucky, that's that. You can retire. It's okay. There's no coming back from that usually, unless, you know, there's a safety car and they come in and you stay out, then you might be able to, but you don't have to bank on that. I understand if you are lapped, but Felipe Sosa, and I love that he's fighting. That he's trying to stay on the lead lap with all he has. I love that. I think in part, it might be his pride as well here on the line, because this is his home race. He is Brazilian.
Yes.
He's the only Brazilian on the grid right now. But this is his home race. He's like, I'm not getting lapped here. Nope.
Nope,
No
not
way
today.
am I getting lapped at my home race, of all places.
All right, somebody in this pack just absolutely crash out. You know what? Harvey Cohen and Jeffrey Ritchie just crash with each other, make this 10 times more entertaining.
No. Hold on. You know, as a commentator, what kind of power you have,
Oh
right?
God, I have made it happen.
Commentator's curse. Do not do that. Left-hand pits, and that is about as early as you can be for mediums. So I think I know what tire he's going to go on. And there is the yellow-walled medium compound tire for lefted. So he's the first one to pull the trigger. We are getting into the pit stop period here. When will the others follow? That is the question. I think, you know, if I'm Harvey Cohen, I'm just going to wait a little bit.
Oh, don't tell me my internet's gone again.
The cut.
Oh no, we're back.
Because... What? Sorry?
You dipped out and I thought my internet
Oh,
went.
sorry. Oh, sorry. No, okay. What I was saying is a one-lap overcut is about as powerful as a two-lap undercut. Why? Because the tire that you're getting onto the tires have to be warmed up. So you don't want to be the first one to pit necessarily if everyone else can then respond. But nobody feels like Lefted is a threat. So they're all staying out right now. Well, Jonah Martins isn't. And Fionn McKee isn't. Okay, they're coming in. Also mediums, guaranteed. But yeah, everyone else feels like, yeah, those, like, Lefted
You
is
can
not
see
a threat.
punching. Look at his steering wheel. That's ERS enabled. He's punching hard to make sure he can jump a couple of drivers. And I was going to make a quick point. We've noticed that Daniel Keltson, JST, they're all running a lot closer this time. They're making sure that they can pounce on the opportunity when it arrives. But we stay with Lefted. Has he got himself ahead of Jonah Martins? There's a Mercedes. The Ferrari is going to stay ahead. There he is on the screen. So no jumping as of yet.
Yeah, but he's got McKee. I think he was behind McKee when he pitted. Now he's ahead. So he's got one position.
What will the front runners do? It's going to be soon. It's going to be soon for sure. But again, look at Daniel Keltson.
I think Cohen's going to come in.
3 attempts in. And at this point, who is the one who's going to budge? You say Cohen?
I think Cohen, maybe Ritchie. I don't think the top three are going to come in.
It's Kelson!
Whoa! Kelson, not Cohen. That is surprising to me. What is Harvey Cohen thinking here? Maybe he's looking at where Jonah Martinson left it on, and he's thinking, you know what? Maybe I don't want to be there. Maybe the tires still feel good. I can maybe drive out a bit more of a gap. The time lost in the pit lane here is about 19 seconds, and Javier Fernandez is right in that range. So maybe Cohen is looking at this going, yeah, I don't want to be there. No. You know, I want to clear Javier Fernandez first.
Well, here comes the two drivers. You got Jonah Martins going to come down the straight. This is going to be ever so close. So who's going to be taking advantage here? Remember, their tires are cold, while the Jonah Martins has got very hot, boiling tires. He is right behind his teammate of Jeffrey Ritchie. Can he mount a move through turn 6? He's ever so close. But I think that Ferrari will plant himself in a position where he's going to make it ever so difficult. But down the inside, on to turn 8. This is critical for Jonah Martins. He's going to have to keep this round the outside, put it to the inside. And Jonah Martins has gained himself a position, splitting Jeffrey Ritchie and Daniel Keltson.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the top 3 are now in as well. Which means I think actually the top 2 will clear. Javier Fernandez. And Cohen will not, unless Fernandez also comes in, which thankfully for them he does. So that solves that problem. They're all coming in. That is perfect for those that are pitting.
Yeah, and down the inside, Jeffrey Ritchie just got back onto Jonah Martes, but he's gone wide. He's had to cut the second of the center S's, gives the position back. There's Harvey Cohen. He's lost out a few positions. Jeffrey Ritchie is ahead of his championship rival. And critically, look at Lefty. He's right on the rear end of Harvey Cohen as well. So, JST is right on the edge. He actually loses. Daniel Kelson wins against JST, and JST, who was running second, is under threat.
Oh.
He goes wide, allowing Jeffrey Ritchie by, banging wheels. So that's still going to keep going through into turn 10. Jeffrey Ritchie has the inside line, but if JST can stick with it, he could get the inside line back. He doesn't. He's now under more threat. Jonah Martins!
Spin!
Oh, that is...
Harvey Cohen! I was on board with Harvey Cohen, and he did incredibly well to avoid that. Is that a safety car? 2 cars there, spun around, 1 out of Jonah Martins. No, it looks like we will not get a safety car.
Jonah Martins retired as well. He said he's done. After that spin, he's done. So he's out of this race. Yeah. Which now, after that whole shape-up, has left it. We're taking account, we've got 2 drivers who haven't pitted yet.
But Cohen has DRS, left it does not. This might switch right here, right now. However, Harvey Cohen has no DRS left whatsoever. Neither has left it, but, you know, if both have nothing, it's very likely to stay that way, and it is.
Yeah, and just looking at the chat, not the Twitch one, the private Discord, yeah, he's not happy. I'm not going to repeat what's being said in the chat, but he's not a happy boy. And I don't blame him when you kind of get spun out and your race is ruined, but...
Yeah, but I watched it from Harvey Cohen's perspective, which in my opinion was about the best seat in the house that you could have for this incident. And it's just unlucky. It's 2 cars just touching wheels in the middle of that corner, in the middle of that fast left-hander at the end of the second sector, and the game physics doing the rest. I don't think that either JST or Jonah Martins was at fault. Yeah, I think all that happened was, as here goes Harvey Cohen on lefted for P5 right now, P4 in net positions as Harlan Marquis still has to pit. So yeah, I personally, again, my opinion, JST also retiring in the pit lane here. I don't think it was either driver's fault. I think it was just a very unlucky coincidence.
Nelson Alves. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. Nelson Alves taking out Theo McKee. It almost looked like a pit maneuver, but it wasn't. You could see Theo McKee turn into Nelson Alves, and that caused Theo McKee to drop down to P15 at the moment. He is retired as well and left the session. So now the drama is unfolding, and I tell you what, who's probably going to be, fingers crossed, something now becomes of it. Felipe Sosa still hasn't pitted.
Yeah, not just Felipe Sosa, though. Harlan Marquis also hasn't pitted yet, and he hasn't pitted at all. He's going to come in now, and there's not going to be a safety car as it stands right now, but... You know, he was certainly hoping for one because he was out there on those old hard tires the longest. And he would have liked for a safety car to happen. He would have gained quite a few places from that and gotten a free pit stop out of it. Would have lost probably all the way down to P11 where he is right now and not 13, 14 where he will re-emerge. So it would have been quite a bit better for him if there had been a safety car. But there is not... Oh, he almost messes up the pit exit there. But yeah, it's a crazy race. We have the order somewhat restored now. Bourlem Farrar in the lead, Daniel Kjelsen second, Jeffrey Ritchie third. No DRS for Harvey Cohen right now in P4. Behind him, Lefted in P5. So we have all 4 championship contenders. I can't believe I'm saying this, in the top 4.
Oh, it's getting spicy. And also looking at the chat again, Theo McKee not too happy with that incident. Again, words that cannot be repeated. But that is looking ever so spicy from Daniel Kelson. He's not going to waste any time for this championship. Daniel Kelson is leading this race, but down the inside, Ferrer is going to try and make a move back, and Ritchie also getting punchy as well. So I think Ritchie's going to say, no, I ain't wasting time either, as down into turn 4 we're going to be going. Farah is driving on his rear view mirrors while Richie's going to look ahead. He doesn't have the pace to make the move into turn 4. With a good run, you can make an overtake into turn 8 if you are lucky. But you can see Jeffrey Ritchie, his rear lights is flashing. He doesn't have any RS left to fight.
Yeah, meanwhile, Harvey Cohen is getting closer and closer because Daniel Kjelsen, it doesn't seem like the fastest. And all that battling makes things all the tougher. And now Harvey Cohen is in DRS of this group. We have the top 5 all in a DRS train here. That means all 4 championship contenders that remain are in this group of DRS, and they're all battling it out for the win. Any changes here will have drastic implications for the championship fight right now. As things stand, we would go to Jeddah for the decider. This would not be the end of it. All 3, Daniel Kjelsen not so much, unfortunately, but all 3 others, Farah, Ritchie, and Cohen, would all still be in the championship if the race finishes this way. But I find it very unlikely that it will, considering how close they are and how much battling has been going on already.
Yeah, all it takes is one more mistake from one of these drivers and bam, the window and the opportunity changes. You never know. Jeffrey Ritchie could find his way up the inside like Hamilton did in Great Britain. You could find that the defense moves from Kjelsen could be as good as Abu Dhabi in 2021 from Sergio Perez. You just don't know. There is so much that can happen, and we're only on lap 25.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I just checked the ERS for each of the 3 main championship contenders here, and it is a world of difference. I can't believe what I'm seeing, really. Harvey Cohen is, as he crosses the line, will be at about 10%. The light should start flashing right about now. Jeffrey Ritchie's at about 10%. He's 12, maybe 13. You know, a little bit more than Cohen. Willem Ferrat, now, you know, buckle up. 85% battery charge.
He's ready.
The man is loaded right now. That battery is bursting. And Willem Ferrat will unleash all of that energy. And I tell you what, Ritchie and Cohen will not be able to harvest all of that energy to get even remotely equal. The amount of energy you can gain per lap, if you absolutely use nothing here, is 9%. And that's, again, nothing. You are not allowed to use anything coming out of the final proper corner, out of turn 12 here. You're not allowed to use anything coming out of the center S. Then you gain 9%, but you're likely also going to lose touch to the cars in front. So it's very, very tricky right now for them. Daniel Kjelsen is trying to harvest some as well. He's on 45, so even he looks better than Ritchie and Cohen. I think Farah's going to win, there's no doubt. And then Kjelsen's going to hold on to P2, and Ritchie and Cohen, I don't know what they're going to do. That's going to be the story, I think. Whatever happens in the next 10 laps here between Jeffrey Ritchie and Harvey Cohen, there will be fists that will be thrown after the race, I'm certain.
Yeah, and I've just been looking. Willem Ferrat is brilliant down the straight. His car is set up for the straight line speed. He's mighty. He was nearly 7/10 back. Now look at him, back at 4/10, and he's going to lose time through this middle sector where it's all technical and all corners. But he's just going to run back up the rear end of Daniel Kjelsen and just get all close and up in his face. And I love that because that's where he's not using his ERS. Well, he'll deploy a little bit of ERS spotted around the track. But he's got
not really. No,
they not at all.
You don't deploy any ERS really, other than the
he's
normal
close.
ERS.
This is an overtake opportunity. He's a lot closer than he was before, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to take a move. But strategically, I wouldn't do it. I would just wait patiently, and he is doing that. So by thought and process, he is not going to make the move. He's even closer than he was on the last lap. So again, if he wanted to, he could go, and you can see on the steering wheel there, 86. I promise you we're not lying. That is real data on his steering wheel. 87 that just showed.
Not just that. I just saw something else that absolutely amazes me here. Willem Ferrat, and I have the telemetry on. I know you don't, for, you know, broadcast reasons. It makes
Mm-hmm.
the broadcast obviously a little bit cleaner. But what I saw was Bourlem Farrar into turn 4 started lifting and coasting into the corner because he didn't want to get too close to Kjeldsen. I mean, the IQ, the racing IQ on this man, on Bourlem Farrar, is just astounding. The fact that he's like, you know what, I'm going to hold off, and if I have to lift, I'm going to lift. Saves me a bit of fuel maybe as well. I don't know, I can't see what his fuel is like, but, you know, to say, hey, you know what, I don't need to go for this here. I'm just going to lift, you know, I'm just going to take it easy, nice and chill. Amazing. He has the patience of a saint, and that is something you don't. Now he's going for it, I think. Yep. Now he says, you know what, you're too slow for me, and he's got the battery. He knows he's got the battery, and he's like, okay, I'm going to try to drive away. Or is he? No, he's not deploying. He's still on 80%.
Well, he's got the pace. If you've got the physical pace and you can take the lead of this race by just natural driving, then why not? And then you can use that to use your ERS as a defense mechanism rather than the attack, which if you got track position, that's more, that to his eyes might be a bit more favorable.
For 8 laps, every time you want to defend DRS with ERS, you have to calculate, I would say, at least 10% per defensive ERS usage. That the other person might be, to offset the DRS, you know. And I don't see that as a viable strategy this early, but right now he doesn't have to use any because Kjeldsen is not close enough. Also, Kjeldsen is still harvesting. This is gonna. Oh, Kjeldsen, I think, was on the grass there on the entry to the center as he got a little bit of a tank slepper. He saved it quite well, but that was a tough one. And yeah, that gap has now opened up to 410 simply because of that tiny mistake, dipping 2 wheels onto the grass there. The 2 outside wheels, that the car does not like that whatsoever. And now the gap has opened up a little bit. Not enough for DRS to be broken there by Farrar, but my goodness, he is, yeah, it's incredible to see him drive, honestly. Even, I would say this, even if he doesn't win the championship next week in Jeddah, I think Bourlem Farrar for me is the driver of the season.
Absolutely, and he came in late as well, and he's just
Exactly.
he's wowed us throughout, and also he's teamless as well. He races without an organization. He doesn't have any representation for him. He's just a man who enjoys racing, and that's what you love to see, is somebody who's that passionate and then pulls off stuff like this, which is entertaining for everybody. And I tell you what's also entertaining, this championship standing at the moment, as Jeffrey Ritchie is trying his absolute best to keep and stay close with Daniel Kjeldsen. I feel he's a lot closer than he was before, so possibly might be thinking about an overtake. He's not deploying any ERS, so not just yet.
Exactly, but with the amount of energy that Bourlem Farrar has over the other drivers, there's no way that he is going to give up that lead at any point, unless there's some shenanigans going on, which hopefully not. Hopefully we don't see any contact between these drivers. Just 6 remaining laps, 5.5 really, of pure clean racing. Hard but clean, please.
Yeah, quick note to other actions around the area. Tim and Mark Shuttler is also close with a battle. Maloney and Hadler with Tom and Martinez also very close to each other. That's for P9. Down into P12, we've got battle with Paul and Marquise. And that is all the actions that's happening. And of course, the great action, the great battle for the championship up at the front from 1st to 5th. Because also at the back, we haven't spoken about him much, but Lefted is sitting quite comfortably watching this all unfold. I don't know what his ERS is like. You can give me the number for that.
It's right where Jeffrey Ritchie's is as well, around 20%. So it's pretty much the same.
He's in a position where if one of these guys make a mistake or they get too punchy, he can pick up the scraps and the remains. Is he going to win? Unless there's a massive mistake amongst all of them, no. But he is in a good position, maybe, to yoink a podium off the other guys if he plays his cards right. And with a few laps remaining, it wouldn't be surprised if we see him get a bit more involved in this.
Possibly, yeah. Harvey Cohen, I think, is struggling a lot for energy. He's now 9%, 10% down almost on Jeffrey Ritchie. So that is a severe difference between the two that has opened up. Left had actually been saving quite well. And Buelam for us is trying to open up the gap a little bit. He's used 20% of his battery. He's down to 60% now. So, you know, he's starting to push a little more. But Daniel Kjelsen not even close to having a chance here. I mean, this is getting very, very interesting indeed. 4 laps remaining, and as things stand right now, the standings would be Jeffrey Ritchie 143, Buelam Farah 133, Harvey Cohen 130. Those would be the only 3 drivers still in the hunt, still in the fight for Jeddah.
I like the sound of that. I really, really do. So the battles which I was talking about in the lower field, Mark Schottler and Tim, they've just swapped positions.
Oh, lefted! Lefted has spun!
Oh,
an exit of
no.
the second sector, turn 11, I think that is, the fast left-hander, flat-out left-hander. He is down to P6 now. Oh, that is unlucky. We just talked about him. Commentator's curse, hyper, striking once again. Unbelievable that you would do that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I was just joking.
I know. But yeah, Mark Schottler and Tim, they've exchanged positions for P7, Maloney and Hadler. They had exchanged positions, but they've gone back and reverted back to their original position. So potentially another overtaking opportunity, but we'll stick with the front where the action is. And the top 4 remaining as they are. Cohen is tailing off. He's at 5 tenths. The other 2 are at 3 tenths amongst each other. So he is at disadvantage here. So Cohen now playing the pick up scraps game while the other guys are fighting amongst each other. But it's all looking favourable for Farah with that ERS advantage.
Yeah, certainly. 20% over Kjelsen, 40% over Ritchie, 45% over Cohen. I mean, that's just an advantage that I would say that's at least half a second of just pure lap time, if not more, potentially a whole second of lap time over these last 2 laps, penultimate lap right now. And Kjelsen is, he's sniffing the fumes of that Alfa Romeo right now. He's got to be careful, though, to not run into him, but he's now too far away again out of the center S. Because once again, Farah has used some, but so has Kjelsen. They both have used quite a bit of ERS there. And they're down now, Farah to 50%, Kjelsen to 25%, Ritchie to 20%, and Cohen to 15%.
So we're going to see the drivers really try and bunch up somewhere around turn 10. That's realistically where you want to put your foot down that bit more, get that gap closest as possible, because through turn 10 you go 11, 12. 12 is the last turn before you head onto that nice little banana straight. So, round about here, these drivers are going to try and close up as much as possible. They want to be at a point where they can attack. And here we go. It is gonna be the final lap of this Brazilian Grand Prix. And who's got what to change this whole matchup? It's going to be very close for Kjelsen. Does he have enough down this straight? This is the prime opportunity to overtake. And yet none of the 4 have anything really to attack. Harvey Cohen is probably the closest out of the bunch to really mount a move. He's going to deploy whatever battery he has left. And I don't think it will be enough for any of these drivers. And as it will stand, it will stay as this is. And I don't think through the last sections of this track, anyone really realistically can get an overtake.
Yeah, probably not. But remember, the finish line comes very late on that final straight. If you get a good run out of turn 12 and somebody maybe makes a slight mistake, there might be an opportunity there with everything you've got. Throw the kitchen sink at it and just hope that you have good straight line speed. But it's very unlikely at this point.
Pray and hope is all you can do, but I tell you who did not need praying today, because the Lord has praised him. Farah, from this very start of this race, has shown potential. He has gone and done it. He has won in Brazil. Farah is the Brazilian Grand Prix winner.
If we count sprint races, that is his 5th win of the season. No one else has more than 3. That is just absolutely impressive. If we don't count them, then it's 3 wins. But it's 3 wins in only 8 races. And that is amazing in it, all on its own. He's won both sprint races he's been a part of. He's won Canada, he's won Japan, now he's won Brazil as well. Absolutely incredible. Hold on, let me actually calculate this real quick. So, Cohen P4, Richie P3, and Farah P1. So, as I said before, Farah is on 133, Richie's on 143, and Cohen is on 130. That means if Farah wins next week and Richie doesn't get P2, then Farah wins the championship.
We're going to have to make a stat for this to have on stream for you guys. I'll be politely messaging Farah because he actually did our lovely standings screen. Get him to make that for us because this is a spicy championship that it has become, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Well, then Farah wins in Brazil. Daniel Keltsen, even though with all his efforts, he won't be fighting in this championship, but P2, that comeback from him. Keltsen is back, ladies and gents. He is back in this racing form. Jeffrey Ritchie will hold off Harvey Cohen for a little bit longer for P3 while Cohen gets P4. Nelson Alves will definitely be investigated by the stewards on more than one occasion, but he has P5 at the moment, left at P6. Mark Schuttler gets to P7, Tim in P8. Tom Martinez P9 getting points. That's brilliant for the Mercedes driver. Maloney P10, Patrick Hadler in P11, Harlan Marquis in P12, Hudson Poole P13, Fernandez in 14th, Taz in 15th, even though he's a lap down, and Felipe Sosa again a lap down and taking fastest lap of the race in P16 with Theo McKee, Sergio Sobrino, JST, and Jonah Martinez retiring from this race. And what a race it was.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this was something else. And Farad doing everything he could. We will find out next week if it was enough today and if it will be enough next week. Again, Farah cannot win the championship under his own power. He needs Richie to at least make one spot worth of mistakes. But if it finishes next week as it finished today, then Buelam Farah will be the champion. So, by the way, on equal points and on countback. That would be absolutely insane. But, yeah, you're going to have to tune in next week, surely. If you miss this, I mean, you will never be able to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the showdown of showdowns.
It's the biggest showdown of the century. I think you're never going to get a three-way battle in... to be honest, I don't think Tier 1 has got a three-way battle on both Xbox and on PC. Saying that, I can quickly double-check.
No, absolutely not. Otis Lawrence has already run away with the title in the Xbox Tier 1.
Yep.
In the PC, actually, there's a lot going on. It's a five-way battle, really.
That's a juicy one.
If you include Tom Manley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But it's not. I feel like it's not as close as it is for us here. With 13 points between 3 drivers with 1 race remaining, I don't think the Tier 1 is that close, you know?
Yeah, nothing to compare to that. So stay tuned for next week as we will be heading to Saudi Arabia for the brilliant street circuit, the 27-corner street circuit with mass amounts of overtaking. And we know that this is going to be overtake galore because you get so much speed up it. So stay tuned next week for the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix.
time.